Okay, welcome back, Counterpoint students. We're doing well. We're finishing out our discussion of Species 4 Counterpoint. This brings us to the end of Chapter 10 in your textbook, and we'll be going on and seeing how Species Counterpoint connects to some fundamental aspects of harmony, which you already know about some basics in harmony already. The 1 chord, the 5 chord. We're going to see how does all this work, all these elements of good voice leading, of suspensions, of different kinds of cadences. How does that work with what we've learned about species counterpoint so far? Okay, so let's finish up Species 4. This is our introduction to Species 4 with a composition assignment. But before we get there, I just wanted to address a couple of things in the homework that I want to make sure that you have seen. I won't give all the answers, just for those still working on it. This was a fairly short assignment. And again, I was asking you just to, from what you know so far about Species 4, what mistakes can you catch from this flawed composition? Okay, not everything is wrong here, but there are some problems. Okay, so let's take a look. I will tell you that there are a couple things that are a little sneaky. So I'll show you one of them. So measure 3, if you measure the distance between, well, first of all, you might say, okay, B to F. All right, let's just count that. So B, C, D, E, F. Of course, you always count 1 for the first note. You come up with a fifth. Okay, and at this point, I know what you're probably thinking. Oh, right, let's circle it because it's a perfect interval. Well, take a listen. Let's see if that's true. Ooh, that doesn't sound like a perfect interval. Maybe if it was from B flat, then we'd have a perfect interval, a perfect consonance. But here we have quite a big dissonance, isn't it? In fact, this is the devil's interval, the tritone. Okay, so in fact, this is not a consonant. All right, this is something to watch out for. Now the question is, okay, since this is a consonant on the downbeat, is it operating as consonances do, resolving downwards by step? Was it prepared by with a tie with the same note? Yes, indeed. Does it resolve downwards by step to a consonance? Well, let's see. Yeah, that's a sixth. Okay, I think we're good. Actually, this one works. So what was the sneaky part here? The part that was a little bit purposely tricky? It was this triangle here. This is not a perfect interval. What about this next one? This is also a good question because we're only just getting to know Species 4. So if you measure the distance between, again, A and E, so you just count upwards, A, B, C, D, E, you come up with 5. You always count 1 for the first note. So you'd end up with a fifth. Is it a perfect interval? Yes, in this case it is. Is that allowed? Are you allowed to have consonants on the downbeats? Well, yes, actually. There's nothing that says you have to have dissonance on the downbeat. It's just that this species, that's what's special about it, that we have dissonance on the downbeat. In general, though, we will try to perpetuate or continue this rhythm where we have the tie from a weak beat to a strong beat. So even if you're going to a consonant, this is okay, as long as it's not then going to a dissonance. So let's double check here. Oh, right, G to E. Okay, so that's also expanding by step. Is that okay? 5th to 6th? Well, yeah, this is completely fine. So I'll play a bit of this here. So there's our tritone, 6th, perfect 5th, 6th. This is actually really nice. All right, in fact, this is a very common way to descend both voices by step because we're avoiding parallel fifths by expanding to that 6th. So that allows us the capability to move downwards both voices. Okay, so this actually works really well. In fact, there's a special name for this where you're going from consonants to consonants. Yeah, that's completely fine to have. All right, so all right, I don't want to give you all the answers. I will tell you there is a problem with measure 7. The question is, what is it? I don't want to give you the answer, but there is something there. Okay, there is a problem with measure 9. What is it? I don't want to give you the answer, but I want you to figure that out. Okay, so again, this is fine to have back-to-back consonances. Perhaps I forgot to tell you that, but I just want to make sure that you've seen that and it's okay to use, and that you would still continue to use this rhythm here. Okay, there you have it. Okay, onwards. So we're going to take this information and we're going to attempt our first composition exercise. Okay, and let's go to that. Now I've given you, as usual, a cantus firmus to work with. You have 2 different exercises here. Like usual, you're giving a shot at you're giving this a shot at trying the counterpoint above the cantus firmus, and then the opposite, the counterpoint below the cantus firmus. However, you'll notice here that this is a bit different. This is starting on C and ending on C. Okay, re, do. Okay, right. So this is in the key of C major. What about this example down here? Well, this is starting on an A and ending on an A. So what key are we in? All the white notes of the piano, no sharps or flats. And of course you're saying, right, A minor. Okay, so make sure you're seeing that difference. In fact, I've kind of helped you out along the way. I've given you a good start there. Okay, so in terms of starting the exercise and finishing the exercise, well, I've already begun it for you. I'm saying, okay, let's start with an octave. Okay, and again, what would be some other options here? Well, of course, could we start with a unison? Well, in this case, that wouldn't really work, seeing as how this is so low. So really our 2 options are the perfect fifth or an octave. I gave you an octave. We could have easily have started with a fifth as well. The cadence, as we've seen for the past few weeks, is ending with that perfect octave. And you're going to have that 7th scale degree resolving to the 1st scale degree. This is re, do. And this is ti, do. Okay, so those are in place here. Now, I've kind of given you the formula already. I've told you what could work. Now, there are a couple different ways you could end. What's the most typical ending? Well, you're going to see what's called the 7/6 suspension. So this is a 6 from D to B. Oops, let's do that again. There we go. So that's the 6. So if we put a 7 here, that would make this what note? Of course, we go up a note. And the question is, can we make this work as a suspension? So as you can see, I'm moving backwards. Okay, so this is going to be tied. Now the question for you is, does this work? And if we measure that distance, E to C, actually, yes, this does work. Okay, let's play it, make sure we like it. It's very nice. Okay, let's keep it. I think that's a good idea. Now, is there another way that we could have ended? Well, remember that you have the option of breaking species, and you could have gone to species 2 here. So if you find yourself trapped and you just can't figure out how am I going to get to that 7/6 suspension, well, you could in fact break species and let's say go la ti do at the end. That's possible. Okay, and again, if we did that, let's do that. I'll change colors here. Let's say I put this in blue. Here's an alternate ending for you. This would be a 5 instead. This was already given to us. So 5, 6. Again, this is consonants to consonants. And the term I want you to know is called syncope. Syncope. This is something you'll see. Let me put this in a different color. You will see this if you continue your study of counterpoint. And this is a back-to-back consonants. It's usually either 5 going to 6 or 6 going to 5. It has to be stepwise motion, and it has to be 2 back-to-back consonances. So try to think, are there any other back-to-back consonances? Unison to second, no, that doesn't work. Second to third, no, that doesn't work. Third to fourth, no, that doesn't work, because remember the fourth we're talking about is harmonic. Fourth to fifth, that won't work. Fifth to sixth, yes, that works. 6 to 7, no, seventh is a dissonance. 7 to octave, no, that doesn't work either. So this is the only back-to-back consonants that's by step. Okay, so there you have it, a new term for you for back-to-back consonances that are completely allowed. All right, then, so we've got our ending, we've got our beginning. Now we need to fill in some notes here. So the general way you should go about this is, how can you set up a suspension? And is it possible to? Now you're going to find in this species, you're going to end up leaping more than the other species. Let's say if we could just leap and create a suspension. What are the 3 suspensions that we tend to have? Okay, 7, 6, like we already said. What's the other most common? 4, 3, right? And the last most common? 9, 8. These are the 3 suspensions. Okay, let's see if we can create one going into this. Okay, so let's say if I wanted to create a 7, 6 suspension, that would mean that this would have to be a C. Now that doesn't really work, does it? Because I can't repeat that C, so that doesn't quite work. If I wanted to start on the half beat, the weak beat, that could actually work. So if I didn't give you this downbeat already, you could have started that out. Okay, so that won't work in this one case. What about a 4-3 suspension? Well, go up 4 notes from D, okay, and you get G. Now, does this work? 4-3? Well, actually, yeah, I think this could really work here. Can we leap to a G and tie it over? Yeah, I think this works. This is 5th. That's all good. This is a 4th, which is a dissonance. And this would be resolving, remember, down by step. Okay, so here's a good option for you. It's not the only option, but it's an option. What about a 9-8 suspension? Okay, let's give that a try. Here, I'll put this in blue. So here's an alternate one. Can we create a 9th above this? Oh, yeah. We could have an E here. Can we set that up as a preparation? Yes. This also works. Do you see how this works? We're kind of reverse engineering. You're seeing where you headed and can you create a suspension? Okay, and this would again would resolve downwards by step. Okay, either one here would work very well. Now, if you find that okay, you've made a few suspensions, you want this mostly to be suspensions, but let's say you want to start getting down and get back to this area here. Well, that's a good time to break species. If you found that, okay, I need to get out of this area and I need a solution to do that, which is not a suspension because you've already had some suspensions. Well, that's a good argument for using for breaking species. All right, so don't be afraid. You can break species. But just in general, you want to try to create as many suspensions as possible. Okay, so you can kind of see that thought process there. What about creating a counterpoint below the cantus firmus? Well, this is quite similar. I've already given you the starting pitch, A and A. What do we have another option? Can we have a fifth, for example? Well, I know what you're thinking. If you're thinking, well, if it's anything like species 1, 2, or 3, the answer is no, you can't use a fifth. Why is that? Well, you don't want to confuse the listener. If we had a fifth, it would sound like you're in D minor. But we're not in D minor, we're in A minor. So really, we only have a unison or an octave. In this case, can we use a unison? Well, no, that would be much too high. There are times when you could use a unison, but here it wouldn't make sense. So here, an octave is our only option. Okay, and what about our ending here? Here we have re do, second scale degree to first scale degree. Here we have ti do. This is seventh scale degree to first. Okay, everything is operating as we're used to. And if we flip that upside down, that 7/6 suspension, right? Let's see what we get. It should invert to a 2/3. So let's see if we can figure that out. Oh, okay. So yeah, this is a third. Can we approach that by step? Oh yeah, that creates a second. This is looking like a suspension. Now the question is, does this work with the previous note? Let's see. Does this A work with this C? Yeah, this is consonant. This is good. So this would work really nicely. Is this the only answer for you? Well, no, again, you could have broken species if you don't like approaching this A. Let's say you want to approach it from the bottom. You want more of a smooth flowing motion. Maybe you'll break species. And have a fifth instead here. It just happens. Now, is it okay? Again, can we have a consonant to a consonant? Well, remember, this is not consecutive. These notes are not consecutive. They are skipping, right? So we call this a consonant skip. So it's not a syncope. This is a consonant skip. Now, does this have to be a broken species? Well, let's double check. Let's see if it would work with this rhythm that we're expected to use in species 4. E to C. Oh yeah, actually this could work too. So if we wanted to, we could use the same rhythm that we've set up. So we don't actually have to break species unless we want to. Okay, and then this is a good start. We have the beginning, we have the end. And again, we're trying to create as many suspensions as possible. Now, question for you, this is a good review. Well, here are our suspensions above cantus firmus. What about the suspensions below? Well, if you remember, the 2/3 suspension is the suspension which we'll use the most of. It's our bread and butter. Or maybe it's gluten-free bread and tofu butter, depending on your preferences. Or picture the thing that you eat every morning. Do you have a routine in the morning? For me, it's 2 eggs and sometimes, let's say, on a bagel or something. Okay, so that's my eggs and bagel. So we're going to use that 2/3 suspension the most. Are there other suspensions we can use? Yeah, we can use the 4/5. And the 7/8. Okay, so let's see if we can set up a 2/3 suspension. Remember that you kind of have to think upside down, right? So what's a second below B? And you'd come up with A. Now, would that work again, we had the same problem, didn't we, with our other problem here, our other exercise. So if this is a 2 resolving to 3, well, that would work, but because I've asked you to start on the downbeat, a 2-3 suspension won't work here. It would have worked if we start with a half rest, okay, which is possible, but I've given you the downbeat, so we need a different note here. Okay, so let's try to find a different note. 4, 5, would that work? So count 4 from the top. So B is 1, A is 2, G is 3, F is 4. Okay, resolving, does it resolve to a perfect fifth? You want to check that. Excuse me. And oh yeah, this looks like it works. 4, 5 could work. And can we set this up as a suspension? Does that work? Well, we need to double check. Measure this note against this note. Yeah. Okay, this can work. Everything looks as it should. You have the consonant preparation, you have the dissonant suspension, and you have a consonant resolution on the weak beat, which is approached by step. Okay, so this is all good. Let's double check it and make sure we like the way it sounds. Interesting. So consonant, preparation, dissonance, resolution. Okay, this is working really beautifully. Okay, could we have done the 7/8 suspension? Let's double check. Okay, so what's a 7th away from B? So you count backwards and you'd come up with the note C. Okay, and we'd be approaching this downwards by step 7/8. So it expands, and again, we're just coming up with an alternate choice here. This is 7 going to 8, and the question is, can this work as a preparation? Let's measure. Yeah, looks like it. So C to A, that's a 6th. Okay, and we tie that note. We finish our half notes here, and yeah, this actually looks like it could work nicely. Okay. Now in this species, so the rule about, well, if you have a big leap, you should walk up, it's less of a problem in species 4 because you're really just trying to satisfy these suspensions. So that is the goal, is to create yes, a smooth flowing beautiful line, but you will find that it's difficult to do that without leaping. All right, so that's less of a problem in this species. Okay, so both of these are good options for you. Here we had the what's called the 4/5 suspension, or the 7/8. Again, the 2/3 didn't work because we're starting with A on the downbeat. Okay, so you can see how this works. In most cases, you're going to be thinking of working backwards. You're going to say, okay, what's possible here as a suspension, and does it work as a preparation? Okay, and then you just keep hopping around, trying to create a smooth, flowing, beautiful line all the way to the end. And if you get stuck, remember that you can always break species as a solution. That might help connect from one suspension to another. Okay, there you have it. This is the end of our species 4 introduction, and the end of chapter 10. Whew, that was a big chapter, wasn't it? It's a lot of information to cover, but you did well. So make sure to turn that in, and next we're going to have a test just reviewing the basics of each species. Okay, you'll get a review document. I'll ask you to take that home with you and upload the answers. Okay, so I hope all is well with you. Again, feel free to reach out anytime you have a question, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Take care.